Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Just a quick note before we go any further. If you haven't seen the video that I made yesterday, Monday, please go check out the channel. It's an announcement video that I've done. It'd be a great help if you can go and watch that. But today's video, as you can tell from the title, we are going to be talking about the big topic in discussion. A lot of things to actually speak about this week, considering, we've got a massive match on Saturday against Aberdeen, which we'll preview tomorrow, and Neil Lennon's return to Parkhead. We've got the draw that was made for the semi-final of the Scottish Cup, which has seen Celtic draw either Aberdeen or Rangers after the replays played at Ibrox between those two sides. It's been a big week, a lot of discussion, and obviously the main discussion that's going to go on from now until the end of the season is who will be next Celtic manager. And the blessing is, I get to milk as many videos out of this as I like, as I please, until we do announce a new manager. And this kind of mini series that we're going to be doing is going to be talking about targets for Celtic managers and who could potentially be the next manager of Celtic. So, you could say you're doing this the money grabbing way, right? The view grabbing way. You could just put them all in the one video and pick who you would like. But I want to kind of go in more in depth about each manager, talk about the pros, the cons, the realistic chances of it happening, rather than a 2-minute fucking conversation on each manager in a 10-minute video. I'm going to try and go through the candidates all in separate videos, maybe do 1 or 2 a week, and talk about who potentially is the next Celtic manager. And we're going to start with one of the more, as Twitter would pin it down so far, one of the more exciting and ambitious options. One of the options that I would personally love to see if possible, and one that is just a bit more out the box, a bit different from the usual discussion. This same thing always happens when a Celtic manager gets sacked in recent time. When Neil Lennon left, when Ronnie Dyler left, and even when Tony Mowbray was sacked as well, we see the same names cropping up all the time. You get your Davy Moyes, you get your Owen Coyles, maybe not this time for Owen Coyle, but you always got Owen Coyle thrown about in there. You get usually the same kind of group of names. Henrik Larsson, he's always one as well. But in today's video, we're going to be talking about one option that I never even thought at first would be put into the hat, but has now been slashed at, as a 5-to-1 chance of getting the job. And that is Red Bull or Rasenballsport Leipzig, not Leipzig, sorry, Salzburg. Get it right, Ryan, get it right. The Rasenballsport Salzburg manager, Marco Rose, not to be confused with Marco Reus, the Dortmund player. Marco Rose, German from Leipzig, in fact, who has been remarkable at Red Bull Salzburg since taking that job on at the start of the 2017-18 season. He's an option that I just didn't really think of. When Brendan Rodgers left, I didn't sit down and go, do you know what, get that Salzburg manager. My first reaction when I heard Marco Rose's name getting thrown about before he was slashed to a 5-to-1 chance of getting the job, my first reaction was not a chance. Why the hell would Marco Rose leave Salzburg, a team who's consistently also making European competition? Why would he leave Salzburg to come to a team who he has just absolutely embarrassed twice in the Europa League group stages, when ultimately he's going to be getting the same success levels? Not much is going to change in his career if he came to Celtic. Maybe we could offer him a slightly higher wage, perhaps. I'm not too sure about the financial situations over at Salzburg. But why would he want to leave for a team that he has just shown up and embarrassed twice the Champions League? Red Bull Salzburg are easily one of the best teams I've seen play Celtic in the Europa League in recent times, of that kind of calibre of team. Not, you take away your Barcelonas, your Bayern Munichs, your Manchester Cities, blah, 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 blah. Out of the kind of calibre that Celtic you'd expect to see beat at Celtic Park and such, they are easily the best I've seen. The way they played football, the way they were set up, the way they made Celtic look like absolute arseholes, it was just quite impressive. And Marco Rose is the mastermind behind that. He's already won the Austrian Bundesliga once last season. He's basically won it again this season. They are in the same sort of situation as Celtic. They're 11 points clear, 20 games into their season. And the guy is still young. The guy is only 42 years of age. For a manager, that is still young. And he has a big career ahead of him. And can Celtic be that next step for him to come and, kind of show his name in this kind of style over in Europe? This could be a gateway for him to go to the Premier League, say, like Brendan Rodgers. That's a manager who you don't expect to come to Celtic and do a Brendan Rodgers and promise to stay here, but you could see him coming here to do a job, get us into Europe, get a few results in Europe. I think he would be good at establishing a style that would make us a lot better in the terms of not getting embarrassed by European teams. This is a man who went perfect this season with his team in the Europa League group stage. In the group that we were in, perfect. 6 out of 6 wins. Last year, can we also add on, this man got Salzburg to the semi-finals of the Europa League. And when you looked at their squad at the start of the season, you looked in the teams in the competition at the start of that season, and even the teams who dropped in to the Europa League at the start of that season, you would never have expected Salzburg to reach the semi-finals of the competition. Not a chance in hell. And that's the kind of way you always look at Celtic. And I feel like if he could get his style established within the squad, bring in his own players as well, I'd imagine we'd see a vast improvement in defence straight away if we did manage to bring in Marco Rose. But you see, you know, the style that he can establish, that could be the solution for us actually getting somewhere on a European stage. I'm not saying that he's the man who's going to take us to the likes of Seville in a European final. I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is that he's a man who could come in and definitely improve our European record. He knows what he's doing in Europe. Semi-finalists last year. Semi-finalists. This year, perfect in the group stage. He's definitely got a clue. He's seen Celtic Park. He's commented on the atmosphere. I imagine if we could offer him a wage, there is a possibility we could bring this guy in. I think he'd bring a very different style to Celtic, which is one of the more entertaining things that I would like to see him become manager for. Right now, he's probably my top option for the job, not going to lie. That's why I'm starting this series with him. I think there would be such a big change in style at Celtic. I think it would be different. It'd be unique. I mean, there's always a gamble if it was going to work or not. But as I said, the players that he could attract from, you know, even Austria and Germany that he's had the chance to work with, he was a youth coach before that as well. The players that know him and know his success, that would maybe want to play for him at Celtic as well, also are players that we could maybe afford. A lot of players in Austria are, you know, the same quality of players that you'd see play for the likes of Celtic. Not saying the likes of Scottish teams, but the likes of Celtic. You know, they're getting that European competition. Yeah, he's a coach who I'd love to see get the job, and I feel like he'd thrive at Celtic. And I feel like he should be considered and looked at as one of the top options. Realistic chance of it happening? Maybe not. As I said, why would he want to leave a team he's doing so well with just now, both domestically and on the European stage, for a team that he embarrassed twice in one season? I don't see why he'd do it. It'd be a bit bizarre, but if Celtic offer him a wage and offer him a good philosophy and a good vision, you know. And that is a tough one because, you know, Peter Law clearly never backed Brendan, and Dermot Desmond didn't clearly back Brendan Rodgers as much as we expected. But if they can offer him a vision and say to him, look, we'll do this and that, the next thing, maybe Marco Rose could be potentially the next Celtic manager. Maybe we're looking at him. He's going to add to his collection this year and winning the Austrian Bundesliga. How much further can he take? You know, it's that kind of Brendan Rodgers approach, I suppose. Brendan Rodgers sat down and he said, how much further can I go with Celtic? What more can I achieve with Celtic? What else can I bring? He's done everything he felt he could. He won the back-to-back trebles. He won the League Cup again. On Europe, he clearly had thought he'd reached the peak of what he could with Celtic. Now it was reaching the last 32 of the Europa League. Maybe Marco Rose feels the same way with Salzburg. What else is he to do? He's won the Bundesliga. He's got to the Europa League semi-finals. How much further can he take that Salzburg team? Maybe this is an option for him if we offer him the wage. It's one possibility I never thought we'd be sitting down and talking about, but as time goes on, the odds get slashed, the top becomes more realistic. There is obviously other candidates in the hat that we will go through in this mini-series, as I said, but he's a man who, you know, his contract isn't far from, you know, running out, and he's not signed a new one. You know, he's only got one more season on top of this. It's expected to run out at the end of the 1920 season. So Salzburg haven't made a approach yet for him to sign on and stay on as manager, and that's something you'd expect to see them do. Maybe he knows there's other jobs for him, and there's probably better jobs that he could get. I'd imagine teams will look at him and go, I bring him in. And even in the German Bundesliga, teams are probably looking at him. I mean, Leipzig won't be taking him as they're looking at Nagelsmann. Looking like they'll be taking Nagelsmann. So maybe Marco Rose could be next Celtic manager. What do you think? Do you think it could be? Do you think it should be Marco Rose. Very, very short managerial career in senior football, but so far he has made the most out of it and knows what he's doing. So potential next Celtic manager, 5-1. Maybe is my choice right now at this moment in time. If you've enjoyed, like and subscribe. Let me know your opinions in the comments below, and I'll see y'all next time.